Hello, everyone. Good morning to those in the morning, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the second live session of Customily. I'm Josema. I'll be your host today, and um, we really appreciate your joining us on this new adventure, which is the live sessions. Okay, let's start this live session with the basics. What is Customily, really? Most of you installed the app quite recently and are either getting started with your store from scratch or beginning the process of selling personalizable products on an existing store. For both cases, we have the perfect tools to get started. This is Customily, basically. This is my store, actually, La Tiendita de José. And Customily basically runs on your product. Okay, it is an app that provides your store with with live previews of products, along with options that your customers can interact with, changing those live previews with every interaction, from text typing to clip art selection and even image uploading. Your preview will change live and give you a realistic example of how your customization will look on the product. Now, this preview is done by loading a template on the page, as well as the options. These two elements are created in Customily. And we can see one example, but at the same time, something completely different can be something like this. If you follow the steps of creating a template from scratch, you'll be able to create the options automatically and connect them to any of your existing products. As simple as that. Great. Okay. So now that you know what Customily is, you probably notice this, the first options, and what is Customily 2.0. Now, this is our latest update for Shopify stores, which allows you to create and publish personalized products easier, faster, and better than before. Those starting your store from scratch will have more interest in this section because now you can choose a product directly from a print-on-demand supplier, add a design to it, and get it published in your Shopify store, all from Customily app. Also, with the print-on-demand services that have an API connection, all the fulfillment processes will be automated. This means that once you receive a purchase, all the order details and the ready-to-print file will be sent to the corresponding POD provider automatically for fulfillment and shipping. And another interesting feature for Shopify users is the free access to Customily's design libraries. This means you can find designs ready to use and sell, or you can use this exclusive clip art collection to create your own art. So we can say there are 4 different paths you can explore with Customily 2.0. You can work with a print-on-demand provider who has its own product catalog and add a design from Customily's libraries to it. This is the fastest path, the one that allows you to have published products ready to sell in minutes. You can work with a print-on-demand provider, but choose to add your own designs to their products. In this case, you will have to populate your design library before being able to publish products in your store. Now, what if you have your own products? In that case, you may not be interested in working with a print-on-demand provider, but you can populate your product-based library first. After you have your own product mockups, you can choose to add a design from Customily's library. So you can create those products and publish them really fast. Or you can, of course, add your own designs to your own products. This is the path that involves more time, But once you have all your product mockups and all your designs set up, it's just a mix and match game, and you'll be able to create and launch new products in seconds. So now that you have the different alternatives clear, we're going to start creating products together, okay? Okay, let's start from the beginning. Imagine I'm a Shopify store owner. I want to start selling personalized products and I just installed Customily to try it out. Here we are in the main menu of Customily. You can see there at the left bar that we have 6 sections. The first 3 sections are shortcuts to the 2.0 tools. The other 3 sections are the main core of Customily. You can explore, manage, and create your templates, upload and organize your assets in libraries, colors, fonts, vectors, and images. And you can see all your connected products in the store section, as well as change many settings that will help you customize the front end experience of your customers. Today, we are going to create the products I showed you in the beginning. We are going to create the acrylic sign with wooden stand really quickly with Customily 2.0 and Customily designs using POD providers. And then we will create the embossed wallet from scratch using Customily tools and connecting directly to an existing product in my store. Let's start off in the Start section. From here, you will have access to print-on-demand providers, design libraries, and product mockups. These 2 last sections will be detailedly covered in upcoming live sessions. Let's start selecting a POD with automated fulfillment in Customily and a design from Customily. Click on Create New Product and pick a supplier, for example. These are all our PODs as we have right now integrated. Most of them have automatic fulfillment because they have API and so we can connect to them. You will see that at the moment Casestry has a manual CSV fulfillment until they can develop their own API. But I'm pretty sure you can recognize most of these big ones and have the advantage of having them directly connected to Customily. So for example, if I click on Printify, I'm able to see most of their products in this catalog and be able to pick one to create my Customily products. I'm going to select a product here. For example, the acrylic sign with wooden stand. That's the one we are going to be selling. I'm going to click this product. The providers will show up here and each one will have different variants, but right now we have one. We have 2 variants in size to be selected. We're going to pick both of them and the print area is the front, of course. Once we have set up this, we click next and go to select our designs. We're going to click on Customily designs today. And well, these are all categories. Right now, there's a lot of categories, and we keep adding more designs to each of them and new categories as well. But since Father's Day is coming, I'm going to go to that and find a cool design. Something that has sons and father. For example, this one, awesome like my dad. So I'm going to click here and Customily will start working. While we wait, Customily is actually creating a new product in your store. It's building the name, the description, the variants, the listing photo, putting all that information coming directly from the API of your of the POD selected. In this case, Printify. So Printify will provide us with the print areas, will provide us with the mockups, and we're going to put inside of those things the design you selected. So when it says that it's creating the template, it's actually creating the design on the print area and the design on the mockup at the same time. And putting all those things together along with the options as well, so your customers can customize this product all automatically. Before you save, you get this page in which you can preview what has been created. In this case, we have this product with these 2 variants that you can change and swap, and you can play around with these options. One thing you can also do, like a really nice shortcut on your Shopify options, is to go to Edit Product Details. Here you can change the description, you can change the name. For example, we're going to call this Live Session Acrylic Sign with Wooden Stand. And right here, you can also manage your variants really quickly. You can later go to Shopify to do this, but we can save some time at the beginning. Once saved those changes, we go back to this final reviewing and we can play around for the options to see how they are working. If by somehow we don't like the order of this, we want the hair to be selected before the skin tone or the clothing before the hair, we can edit the options and move things around, change some texts or whatever. So right now I'm going to create myself really quickly. I'm going to pick a nice lumberjack shirt, pants, type my son's name, and find some similar hairstyle. Pick a t-shirt and pants. Yeah, and this is the preview that I created that I actually like this to put on the front end and the listing. So I'm going to click here to save this to be the new product image. Once saved, you're ready to publish this. And once you publish, this product becomes active. Otherwise, can be saved as a draft. But if you publish, and there it is. You see Customily loads really fast. The preview here actually is the listing photo, but the moment we change sizes, we are changing templates because we are printing exactly the size that Printify specified to us. And we can keep playing around with different options for the father and the son. Now this is really amazing because it was really fast, but what happened on the back end? Let me show you what happened. Let's go back to Customily that started off in the first step here, but you can go to the back end and check out the core elements of Customily. If you go to templates, for example, you will see that in the last editor, here, there are two new templates. These two templates are for the two sizes of the new product you created. In fact, the original one is here, and I relabeled this to match those sizes, and you can do so as well. But you know that each one of these will load depending on the variant you selected, making sure that the real print size is created. If I edit one of these, I will be able to see what a template looks like on the inside. The first step is where you put together the design and you have all the tools that we're going to work with this later on the wallet example. But you put together your design and your print area is all set to go. So this will print exactly on this size um, with this design. These all are the layers that were created on the customity design at the beginning. And you can set up the export format and go to the next page to put this design on the preview. The preview will be the mockup of the product and you will showcase your design in the mockup. And at the end, before you save, you get to see what you get printed and what you get on the front page. And that is exactly what you get here. At the same time, Customily created the template, but it also created the options. So the same options that you were able to edit later after creation, you can browse for them on the store section, go to option sets or create options, find them probably on the last page here. The awesome like my dad. These are the options that Customily picked from the design and created for this unique product. There's the father name, there's the father's skin color, and all these options and information have been created by Customily automatically with the swatches and everything. You don't have to do anything. All you can do here, if you want, and you're free to do so, is change some titles and rearrange the order. Be certain you can change anything about this. But for most of customity designs, everything is working perfectly. Finally, Customily also put inside your Customily user all the images that you need for this particular design. So as many designs as you create, the more populated your image libraries will get. So in the libraries here, you can browse through color, fonts, vectors, and images. And here you can not only have your own images, but Customily will put all those that you create. For example, the last ones that were created are the pencil style bag. So if I edit this, I'll be able to see the graphics that are being loaded on the front end. And you can grab these libraries and create your own characters. So it's really amazing that you have full access to these graphics. Okay, now let's go through the longest path. Let's say I want to sell my own products with my own art. So the first thing I have to do is create a template from scratch. Think of it like this. On the first path, you have everything ready. The POD provider has uploaded all the product mockups, and Customily has created awesome designs for you to use. But you can also create everything by yourself, and now I'm going to show you how to get it done. When we create a new template, we're going to be prompted for the name, and we're going to call this live session embossed wallet is the product we're going to be creating today. We know the embossing area we're going to be creating for the text, the custom text, is about 60 by 15 millimeters. So that's our printing area. This is the Customily Design Studio. And let me give you some quick walkthrough. Here you have all the options that can be created by Customily. We can create text boxes or curved text boxes, so customers will be able to input their own texts. You can add many fonts and many colors, so your customers have choices, for example. Then we can create placeholders, vector or images. Now, an image, for example, an image placeholder is an object that allows your customer to upload their own images. So if you have a product that involves image uploading from your customers, like a collage or like some jewelry or maybe even a customized t-shirt, everything can be your customers can upload their own images, and you can control if to avoid that they upload really low quality images, for example. Those things can be edited using Customily. So this is a powerful tool, the placeholder. Then you can create maps, for example. Now in the map, you can actually set up a object that can be a fully customizable map. You can select many styles, and you can select the initial location of this map. And this is really interesting because later this can be printed exactly as you see, and you can type in coordinates or places so they can find out. And finally, very important, dynamic images and vector are objects that will allow you as the manager of Customily, and the creator of your own designs, it will allow you to upload images in any way you want. You can upload, for example, one image, which is going to be your background, or you can upload many images, like, for example, a lot of hairstyles. So in the moment you start uploading images inside a dynamic image, you'll be able to browse through them using the options selector. So for example, instead of uploading images, I can pick from libraries and find, for example, something really interesting, something really cool to see. Let's see if we have a dog library here, really nice to play. And you see that if we start browsing through the options, we're going to start seeing dogs. Dog number 3, dog number 30, yeah. These are just for previewing, but will allow you to see what's inside this library. Or we can upload images one by one or in bulk and have them saved. But I honestly recommend working with libraries. And the reason for that is because libraries will update later on your products and your front end if you keep adding new images or new fonts or new colors. Or if you want to replace or remove certain items, they will update on every template and every product you have. So I'm going to do a quick overview of libraries. I'm going to keep this open and go to another tab. As you can see, I like having many Customily tabs open because it's easier to navigate. So since today we're going to be working with this embossed wallet that implies that you type a text, I'm going to be creating a font library. The dogs that I mentioned you before, that I showed you before, are in the image libraries. And you see there's a lot of libraries here, but the reason for that is each time you create a Customily design in your account, any product that has Customily designs, all these clip arts are saved and organized inside libraries. This means that you have access to this. So for example, the hairstyle of the man can be seen here in these categories. And you have all these options, meaning that you can use these assets, these clip arts, on any of your designs later on. This is very amazing because many people have a lot of great ideas and they have the people ready to go, and all they have to do is connect to the body library, to the shirt library, to the hairstyle library, and put together one of their characters, combine different assets, add a dog, add a cat, add another sun. Anything can be done because you have all the assets ready to go. So I'm going to font libraries, and I created a library. I added a new library called wallet fonts. And what I'm going to do is going to edit this, and I'm already selected from my database 3 fonts, but I want to add 2 more. So I click on add font, and if I have the font already on my database because I have uploaded this before, I can just select that. So for example, I can go and select, I remember one that I wanted to see here, RC, okay, for example, this one. And I will create this font from my database. Or if I have my fonts on my computer, I can add them by uploading new fonts. So for example, Rock here can be added. And now Rock will be seen, will be fine here. It was a Rockwell actually, but we are going to add another one, which is Satisfaction. And Satisfaction now can be found here. So I'm going to select this and create it. Fonts by default will show the file system name and a default name because you never know what the system name was saved with. But you can double click here and change this to Rock, well, for example, and this one can be changed to Satisfaction. It's very important to change this because this will show on the front end later, and it's really nice looking when you have these nice tooltips coming up. So now that we have this font library ready to go, we will go back to our template and start creating our embossing design. We're going to create a text box. There you go. We're going to open the transform tool because I actually want to keep this centered, but I want to have this the 60 by 15 entire area. I'm going to be adding in the character part here, I'm going to add the font. I can select the font one by one, going to option 1, Arial, option 2, another one, and so on. Or I can just pick a library, which is the best way to go. Now here you will see the 5 fonts that I created, the Sincel, then the Nikon, Quadro, Rockwell, and finally Satisfaction. Yeah, and we can type something here, anything at all. Yeah, and see how it looks. Now, because the embossing will be on the corner of the product, I'm going to center instead of center this, I'm going to put this to the right. Okay. And you know, if you keep typing, right now, the maximum size on points that I'm working with is 21. I have a maximum size of 50, so no worries there. But what if I keep typing? I keep typing and I get to the end of the box, and so Customily will try to shrink the content until we have reached the end of the box plus the minimum size we have established. So if we want to keep adding more characters to the box, we need to reduce the minimum size. Otherwise, we are going to keep typing and we are not going to be able to see more characters because we have reached not only the end of the box, but the minimum size. Having a minimum size is really important because if we have this to 1 and we preview with the eye what 1 is going to look, this is not printable. So we need to be careful that customers may not be able to just type until the end of the word. They need to have some limitations, and you control those limitations and you ensure that your print file is workable and printable. So I'm going to keep this simple, okay? And this is ready to be printed. In fact, we can actually select the export format that we want this to be printed. So if our printer, our embossing machine reads PDF, for example, we can select the PDF, we can select the color mode, and that's it. This will be the end of our print file, but let's check the product for a second. You see the product actually has 2 text previews because we're going to be previewing on the black model and on the brown model. But you can see that there's an effect here. There's like a shadow effect, which is exactly how the embossing will look like. And you see, okay, so how can I do this using Customily? Okay, and there's a trick for that, and you're going to love this. The trick is to create more text elements. Those text elements will be identical to the one I just created. They will be one on top of the other on the print part, and they will be hidden because you don't want them, you want to see them, but you want to have this later. You want this created because later you will later use those text elements. Okay, so let me see how you see the fonts that we set up. We can actually see how our text is changing depending on the size, on the font selected. This font actually is bigger, okay, but it's between the 50. Imagine I set this to be 20. You see the maximum size is now toppled for everything. But if I type 50, I make sure that those fonts that are bigger will be like 46, and let's see if I go free, will be, this one is 30. So depending on the font, the maximum size that can be fitted on the box will change. That's for certain. The same goes with the alignment. Actually, we can actually set this to be centered on the alignment. Now, some fonts will respect that, some others don't. So it's important. It's a very interesting episode, the font part. You need to be clear that the fonts are TTF or OTF. They are certified fonts that have good alignment, good character spacing. Some fonts are really broken up, so it's really important to preview them using the Design Studio before you go live with the product. Yeah, this is probably the biggest font. Oh no, the other one was bigger, but they can shrink to 15 if I keep typing without any problem. So you will fit more or less characters, and if you want to make sure that you are going to be fitting, for example, 12 characters, regardless of the font, you can set that up in Customily later, and I'm going to show you how. But right now, we have this. I like this font better to preview. We have this working, and we are going to create the extra text elements. These text elements, we're going to call this the enter your name. The reason I'm doing this is because this name of the layer will carry to the options on the front end. So type your text, for example, or type your name. This can be automated by renaming the layers. It will save you time, so I recommend you do that. And now we're going to do this magic that I told you. I'm going to clone this object, this text element, and now we have a clone. Now this clone we know is going to be the emboss shadow. Okay, and will be part of one of these. But remember, we have black and brown, so let's call this brown emboss shadow. We are going to align this to fit this exactly. Apparently, we're going to have to set the position to be exactly the same and hide it. We no longer need this. We're going to clone this again to create the black embossed shadow. And we're going to clone that again to create the black text copy. Okay, very important. These 4 text elements will need to behave exactly the same to create the effect. How do we ensure that? By having the same ID. If I created different IDs, I will create different objects, and so they will behave independently. And you will have 2 text inputs instead of 1 text input. But we actually want to have 1 text input and create the effect, so IDs should all be the same. Let me open this so I can finish up this. I'm going to align this, change the alignment to the right one. Okay, and the final one will be the same, like this and like this. Since our print file will be probably black because the machine is reading black, we will keep the texts to be black. Only one will be showing on the print file, but later when we create the preview, we can play around with the colors, and I'm going to show you how. We're going to click next to go to the next step. In this step, we have the chance to upload, create several mockup images or upload like a background image of our product. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to start off. This is the preview step, and I'm going to upload a background image. My background image should be the blank product. Okay. And now you see I have all the elements that I created available here to rearrange for the preview purpose. So let me just enable all this, and I'm going to pick the enter your name and the brown emboss shadow, okay, and move those 2 here. Oh, I should actually pick everything and resize them all together so we don't get any problems like that. Okay, and yeah, this is a nice size. Okay, so okay, one great idea will be to use the undo tool. Okay, let's refit like this and a bit like this. Yeah, that sounds a bit right. So I'm going to pick the brown ones, these 2 together, and rotate them and rearrange them to fit the preview. It seems like we have certain tilt and certain depth and some sort of perspective. So let's preview something like my name, and seems like we need to create some sort of effect. And there's a cool way to do that. We can actually go to transform and add skewing. Skewing is really cool because you get to shift a bit the process. You can play around with these numbers and do an effect like that. Also, something really cool is if you hold the control key on these points here, you are able to manage that. It will actually update this data. Obviously, we want the same effect on the other one because it's the shadow, so like that. Give me a second, let's see why. If I have the same, yeah, 5, and this one is 5. Apparently, we have a difference in the positioning. Yeah, 266, 67, okay. like that. Now it looks better. Yeah. And the Y is 36235. 36235. So now they're perfect. They're actually a bit skewed, so they look perfect. They look amazing. And we are going to create the color effect. Now, whatever color you put here will not reflect on the print file because this is just for the preview. So I can actually go to the color section, find something in the golden, on the golden idea, and save it. Apparently, I'm not seeing that, but that's because I actually need to put this on top of the shadow, like we did here. And now it seems, I don't like that color. Let me find something more on the likings. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that sounds better. Save it. Okay, so this is the embossing color. And what about the shadow? The shadow should be something with the brownish. So I'm going to pick something with the color picker, something from the shadow part here, and yeah, save it. But now that we have that saved, we need to actually see the background text. So how do we do that? We go to transform, for example, and we play around with the coordinates. We drop this a bit to the left, and we drop this a bit to the top. And you see how everything starts to show up. And we start to create that effect. We can actually be more precise, more be around, be more, yeah, something like that. I think it was on the other side, the effect that we created. But you see how now we just created something really cool and really effect with very little stuff, just a couple of texts. And I can type this, and they will work together because they have the same ID. On the other side, we can actually do the same with the other text elements. Start with the blank text copy, going to transform, give it a vertical skew. Yeah, maybe like that, free. And the other one will have the same effect. Okay, and this one will have, maybe we are going to be adding a silver effect like that. Okay. But obviously the drop shadow will be something more in the black. Maybe we're going to keep this black and go to transform and see if we can actually add this effect like that. You see it's actually coming up. You can actually zoom and see, do a better fitting like that. This would be the end of this. But what if we actually want to add even more effects? We have that in Customily. For example, if we click on the top text and we go to color, you probably saw that there's a texture feature here that we can play around with. There are some default textures created in Customily. Eventually, you can create your own and ask us to upload that. But what if we were to apply something like a felt texture? And you see now it has some really cool effect. We use metal textures for engravings and stuff on jewelry. And for example, on this one, we could actually play around and see if the leather looks nice. Yeah, so it has a similar effect. And this actually looks pretty well. And we can actually set this to go and like that. We can preview, for example, again, the font options here in option 1. This is previewing, so you will not change the back ones, but they will all change together later. And this is all you need to create the template. So when you click next, you'll see that the print file is always this and the preview is this. So if I come here and I enter my name, I get to see how everything performs. Now I'm going to save this. And once saved, Customily will ask me if I want to connect this to a product on my store. I'm going to say yes. And now I'm in this area here. I'm going to find a live session wallet that I created for this. You see, it's a simple product without any connection because there's no check mark. So I will see inside here that I get to see the product image, I can see the name, I can preview this on the store as it is, And here I can start adding files from Customily. For example, the template. I can connect this template, and Customily will offer me to create the options automatically. Basically, Customily, what it's doing is creating the text fields and the font options. Okay, and we're going to save this product. Once saved, we can preview this on the store, and that's it. Now you probably see that there's a lot of text elements and there's a lot of font elements. And the reason for that is because in the end, we created 4 text elements. But we are going to simplify that because all text elements have the same behavior. So if I type this, they will all have the same behavior, even if you don't type the others. So let's clean this up. Let's go here again and quickly open the options. There's an option for entering your name, which is a text input. Then there's other free text inputs that we don't want, so we can easily delete them. And then we have the enter your name font, which also is repeated. So let's delete the repeated ones. You can personalize this. So enter your name will be a text, like I said. This is the guidance. And there's a lot of settings here that we can, for example, suggest a name here. We can top the number of characters like this, okay? And later on the font, we can change this to select font. Simple. You will see that the 5 fonts have the names you created. Customily also created a nice swatch for this, and everything is ready to go. So if we save these options now, and we refresh, we will get a better example. Enter your name with a character limit, a suggestion, and a font selector that we can click to see how everything changes. If by some chance you are going to be playing around over the weekend or after this session, which I really encourage you to do so, feel free to reach us at our email for support. Go to the live chat, reach out to our friends in our Facebook communities, okay? And you know, there's always someone behind the emails, behind the chat. You know my face, you know everything. There's a lot of people here ready to help you get the best of Customily. Okay, I really thank you so much for your time, and we will see you hopefully on the next live session on Tuesday, and we will have another one on Friday, and so on for April, and hopefully for many more months. I hope you like this, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.